Which type of tattoo makes you cringe the most? I'm a tattoo artist. Had a regular come into the shop. He was an older swinger type and my coworker tattooed him. He got Pinocchio tattooed above his junk with his penis as the nose, and script that said lie to me. I try not to judge tattoos, but I figured you'd all appreciate this one // ___/. Those creepy faces of babies, which look like there's a little demon on your body. I was in line behind a guy who had a tattoo on his neck of two obese, naked cartoon women going at it, tongues hanging out, flying sweat drops, the works. Armpit pussies. It's when someone gets two women's legs tattooed around their armpit hair. Yes. The tattoo of a clown holding a gun smoking a joint on my leg. Nothing says I've been to prison for cooking meth in my trailer like a Joker neck or face tattoo. Tattoos of brands. It's basically free advertising. At least email them what they would pay you if you advertise for them till you die. Sayings, especially ones that span multiple limbs/areas. I was in the army with a guy from Texas that thought he was hard as woodpecker lips. Had "cowboy the fuck up" tattooed across his forearms, ostensibly so if he put his fists up to fight you, you would read it and, I don't know, be scared or something. He never got in any fights that I know of. But due to the size he wanted it and shitty planning, one arm said cowboy and the other arm simply read fuck up. And he immediately became known as Cowboy, the fuck up. ETA, dumbass PV2 Waldo gets me my first gold award, lol thanks stranger. Famous people. I get it that you really are a fan of said famous person, but to permanently ink their face onto yourself is borderline crazy emo. Just saw a couple of days ago a writing on some dude, Karna isn't a bitch, just as I wrote it. Me reading these replies to see if any of my tattoos are on here. I don't know the exact English word, but in German it's called ass antlers. I'm not sure what it's actually supposed to represent, but it kind of looks like you've got a deer tossing your salad inside your pants. Lips on the neck. I get it, you're a gangster with an attitude problem and probably want to fight. A defendant in the courtroom I clerked in during law school had homicide tattooed on his face, over his eyebrow. Not a great look. Know a girl who tattooed her firstborn's name, as a tramp stamp. Not what I would want someone to be looking at while tagging from behind. Had a lady come into the store I was working in with a big neck tattoo that said Daddy's Girl, may have been the most shocking one I've ever seen. Barbed wire around the arm that doesn't even go all the way because it hurt too bad. Couple tattoos like portraits or names. Mostly when they proudly tell you it's because they've been together for 5 months and just know they stay together forever. Any tattoos like name plus name, together forever, because if that relationship goes down and the two break up, that is gonna be awkward. I once stood in line behind a lady who had, like, the bad tattoo parade going from the nape of her neck. She had "Only God Can Judge Me," something in Asian characters, and an ugly, faded, poorly drawn crucifix. That stupid cliché thing that says life one way and death the other. Knew of a guy once who had dubstep tattooed on his chest in very, very large letters. He also insisted that dubstep was the future of music and was here to stay. NSFW tattoos. Like it's cool that you really love your girlfriend's vagina, or that you want to showcase the ginormous imaginary dick you have. But the rest of us don't really want to see that. To be fair though, I haven't really seen these much in person. Mostly online. Memes. The thought that a lot of people have dead memes from 2017 in their arms or legs is kinda funny. One time I saw a lower back tattoo that was the Target logo a bullseye, and it really solidified for me why those are called tramp stamps. A misspelled tattoo. Tattoos that are gifts from you to someone else. For example, for your birthday, I got your birth date tattooed on me. And tattoos with spelling errors. Example, were you really there if you think you were there? The "Only God Can Judge Me" tattoo. No, we can all judge you. Ones where the person gets a tattoo of someone using either their real nipple or belly button to replace the tattoo of a person's nipple or belly button, e.g. Buddha with real belly button. Shits F** king gross, don't get one. Any tattoo with something in Chinese or Japanese written on it. I am learning Japanese cause why not, and I saw this dude with a tattoo saying sakana, fish. I was like, hey, what does that mean? And he said poison. He may have typed poisson into Google Translate, lol. I actually plan on getting a biohazard symbol as a tattoo. Some people have said, what, are you trying to be punk or edgy or something? Or something along those lines when I tell them, but then I explain it's because of my career. I'm a medical lab tech, and I deal with biohazardous substances all day, so it's a nod to the fact that the human body, and everything it produces, is considered biohazardous material. I'm just being a good little lab tech and labeling myself appropriately. Names of significant others. Chinese writing when they have no cultural connection to it and got it just because it looks cool, especially Western names translated into Chinese. Baby faces. You have a child, I get it, you love him. But he will be a generic newborn for a few months, and you will think fondly ever after about his grown-up version, with specific facial features. His baby picture will mean very little after a while. Any tattoos of genitals or an anus makes me cringe. I refuse to sink next to an anchor. That is literally what anchors are made for. IDC what you want tattooed on your body. I do however hate seeing shitty work, e.g. poor line work, muddy colors, incoherent shading, disproportionate shaping, etc. Bad portraits, misspellings. I have a tramp stamp that says no regrets in very fancy cursive. It's the only tattoo my dad laughed at rather than cringed. I can judge no one. Be happy, be free, live, laugh, stay positive, daddy's lil girl, daddy's princess, these tattoos they get. At least put some thought and make it original or unique or at least interesting. Any image that incorporates bodily hair. I got Pokemon tattoos. So I'm not judging anyone. Fucking wings. Where you think you're flying to? Some vague inspirational quote that in all likelihood the tattooee didn't even choose before they went to the tattoo parlor, but rather selected from a pre-chosen list written up by the parlor. Once I saw a dude in a gym who had an elephant tattooed in his crotch. Guess what was the trunk, face with hand over mouth? I was in the supermarket today and saw a man with a full-body Harley Quinn tattoo on his arm. The Margot Robbie movie one. Literally anyone that has two small tattoos and is constantly posting about how discriminated against people with tattoos are and how pathetic all the Karens of the world are for being offended by tattoos. Like, calm down Becky, no one has ever said anything actually rude to you about your 3-inch faith tattoo written in such swirly cursive that it could be a roller coaster. My whole identity is Victimhood Island. Those little mustaches on the pointer finger. The rebel flag. Where I'm from that's the usual tattoo and it makes me cringe. I work with the deceased. I've seen a direct correlation between only God can judge me tattoos and being a victim of gunshot homicide. Juggalo tattoos don't bode well for MVAs. Tasmanian devils go hand in hand with gastric bleeds from chronic alcohol consumption. The clinically depressed seem to like dolphins. I feel bad when I see people my age that got those barbed wire tattoos. Literally everyone had them, so they all looked the same. Tramp stamps were pretty bad too, at least the barbed wire did look kind of cool. I've never seen a tramp stamp that I liked. The people who put words from a language they don't understand cause it's quirky and 99% of the time it isn't proofread so it doesn't say what they think it does. Lame calligraphy of the pint rest type. Tattoo artist here, tribal, died in the 90s, early 2000s. Leave it there. A crush of mine got a tattoo of Hank Williams on her breast. Totally killed my interest in her, lol. Imagine being in the middle of coitus and seeing an old dude in cowboy hat staring at you while she demands you go harder. No sir, I'm out. Well, there's a story of a cringe tattoo that I almost got, but I'm so damn glad that I didn't. When I was 16 I was a very different person than I am at 28. I wanted to get a tattoo and my mom said I could if I paid for it. Me being the 16-year-old Bible belter surrounded by rednecks that I was, I wanted a big cross filled in with an American flag on my arm. I'm now an atheist who doesn't care about patriotism at all and cannot be happier that my ass didn't have the money at the time. Moral of the story, if you're going to get a tattoo before you're 20, I advise getting something simple and non-controversial, because you never know where your life is going to take you and tattoos are permanent. Last name across the back. Like, who needs that? Southern Cross stars? For Aussies who think the stars are only visible from our country. I saw a tattoo on some guy's leg yesterday. It was a Confederate flag with Southern by chance at the top and white by the grace of God at the bottom. I saw a kid with the 100 emoji tattooed on his forearm. I don't even have a joke to make about that. I ran into a guy who had tattoo of a rooster on a noose, on his calf. When asked what it represented he simply said, I have a cock that hangs below my knee. Nothing screams white trash more than a Looney Tunes tattoo. I do enjoy LT, don't get me wrong. However, Tweety or Tasmanian devil are of utmost cringe tattooed. My friend got one of some Viking symbol on his chest. Mind you, he was like fully Filipino with no relation to Scandinavia at all. We all told him it was cringe AF. He passed away a few months later in a cliff jumping accident, and a few of us got tattoos in his honor. I got the same stupid Viking tattoo on my chest now. No regrets though. This thread made me feel better about myself and my life decisions. Thanks Reddit. I'm gonna go with insane clown posse face paint permanently tatted on the face. Tribal tattoos on suburbanites. friend of mine got a one-night stand's name tattooed on her foot while her fiancé was in prison, so that's wrong on at least 3 different levels. But basically anything with the name of an S/O immediately makes me think there's real potential for regret there. Live, laugh, love usually gets a retch. Oh, and Hatchet Man tattoos, because I have one and I cringe whenever I see it. Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes peeing on stuff. Except the one from Hot Rod with one stream of urine going on the TV set and one going on the FM radio with an AM radio safely dry in the middle on a magic carpet. It's not the type of tattoo, it's where it goes that makes me cringe. I often see people who are really young getting tattoos in some very peculiar places for somebody who has no idea what they want to do in their life. Probably a tie between anything homemade by a rookie with a tattoo gun bought off Amazon, and marijuana leaf/420 tattoos. I have nothing against weed, but don't bitch about your life constantly and wonder why you can't get better than a kitchen job when you have a homemade pot leaf tattoo covering the majority of your arm, wrist to elbow. Big Bible quotes on girls' thighs, or angel wings on their back. Something that makes a statement about yourself now, but won't later. Like if I were to get a tattoo of Thomas the Tank Engine on my chest as opposed to me being a longtime Transformers fan and putting an Autobot and Decepticon symbol on either shoulder. I might do that when I get tattoos. Not Thomas though. My girlfriend used to get her hair cut by a guy who had a big mural on his back, showing Jesus Christ on a cross fucking a zombie. That's a pretty weird one. Nazi and Confederate stuff. A guy came into my bar and was chatting to some girl about his tattoos and how they all meant something really important and signified a part of his life. Apparently the tattoo of New York skyline that said New York above was about the time he went to New York. It was so deep I wept. The so-called Arschjew, ass antlers? I had a friend who had an arrow pointing down to his junk with the label Sarah's. He's now with Dawn. I was at church as a kid and this woman there had a massive script on her outer forearm that read cocaine in all caps.